2025 has already been an incredible year for JRPGs, and if you're currently looking for some of the best ones to come out so far, then check out my best JRPGs of the year so far video I put up a couple weeks ago. I'll link that in the description below. But if you're like me and it seems like you've played everything up to this point, then this video is for you. We're seeing remakes that actually respect their source material, indie games stepping up with huge heart, and even a few unexpected comebacks that honestly have no business looking this good. So in this video, I wanted to showcase the best JRPGs still coming out in 2025. This isn't a ranked list or anything like that, it's just a list to give everyone an idea of what's ahead. So with all that said, let's jump right into it. There's something kind of special about revisiting our favorite games of the past, not to just relive the experience, but to create new memories with our favorite games. That's what Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D Remake feels like it's doing. It's not just nostalgia for nostalgia's sake, it's a way of looking back with clarity, taking something foundational and asking, how do we make this shine again? These games are legendary, the building blocks of the JRPG genre as we know it, but they've always had this barrier. For all their charm and historical value, the originals were frankly a bit stiff. Dated interfaces, punishing design quirks, and a lot of aimless wandering. This remake looks to smooth out those edges without erasing the soul that made these games great originally. This is all what excites me most about them. If you don't know, I had a chance to play these games a couple of months ago. I have a full video breaking down my experience with them, so if you want an in-depth look at them, I'll link that in the description below. But I came away shocked at how great these games are. The HD 2D style feels like a perfect fit for them, evoking that classic simplicity but layering it with depth and emotion. There's also something elegant in the decision to pair 1 and 2 together. Separately, they're brief, kind of tight experiences, but together, they chart a surprisingly ambitious arc. And when you bring Dragon Quest 3 into the mix, this ends up being just one of the most amazing trilogies in all of JRPGs. Will the systems feel a little classic, similar to Dragon Quest 3 Remake? Yeah, sure, but that's part of the charm and part of what makes them special. These games don't overcomplicate things, and I love them for that. This is pure Dragon Quest comfort food, and if you're in it for that, if you really like that feel, these games are going to be hit for you. Trails in the Sky, the first chapter, was definitely a huge surprise when it was announced. Trails in the Sky isn't just the start of a series, it's the root system of a sprawling, interconnected narrative that still hasn't stopped growing. And this remake, this is more than a facelift. It's a ground-up remake that I think will do wonders for the popularity of what I consider one of the best series in all of the genre. If you've never played the original, this is going to be the best possible way to start. The story of Estelle and Joshua has always been my favorite, and it really is what built my love for Trails. The downside of these games has always been their availability. They've only been playable on PC for a long time, and many fans have just wanted them to be made available on console, but seeing them not only be made available, but getting a huge ground-up remake like this is incredible. From what we've seen, it's not just about the visuals either, though the fully 3D rework does help breathe some new life into the small-town charm. It's the systems that have my attention here. They're blending real-time movement with turn-based combat, which could be huge for those that jumped in at daybreak and want to go back to the original with modern playstyle. But here's the heart of it. Sky First Chapter is where Trails' emotional DNA lives. It's intimate, almost slice of life at times. Every side character matters, every town has a little secret, and Estelle is still one of the most quietly powerful protagonists in all of JRPGs. Seeing her journey reimagined, revoiced, and reintroduced to a whole new audience, that's what has me really excited. Whether you're coming in fresh or you've been a longtime fan, this remake is an amazing opportunity, and I think it might be one of the most emotionally rewarding games of the year. What's really interesting about Octopath Traveler 0 is how it isn't just a prequel, it's kind of a sibling, not to the original console game directly, but to the mobile title, Champions of the Continent, which I personally haven't played. And if you skipped that one as well because, well, mobile games aren't really my thing, this might be the chance to experience that lore and expanded world without all the extra gacha things attached. Zero is a prequel that kind of gives us some light into the roots of what would eventually become the land we saw in the original Octopath games, and while that sounds kind of lofty, it seems like it's grounded and adds a lot of unique elements that might make this one pretty exciting and quite a bit different from the other games. For the first time, you're not just choosing from a list of pre-written protagonists, you're actually creating your own traveler, and while I don't know exactly what that entails and how it weaves into the overall experience from a gameplay standpoint, it definitely has me intrigued. And alongside that, we are also getting town building, and if you know me, I love all games with town building in them. I'm totally hooked on anything that gives me this mechanic. That kind of design adds a whole new layer of investment. Octopath has always flirted with player-driven storytelling, but Zero looks like it's fully embracing it. The idea that your character isn't just passing through, they're shaping the world you're in. It's really interesting. Combat still gonna have that punchy, layered turn-based rhythm, and the HD 2D art still looks amazing and even sharper than ever, but this time, the game definitely feels different. If done right, this could be the best Octopath game yet. Pokémon Legends ZA is one of those games that I've been excited about since they announced it. Now, I'll be honest, I didn't expect Legends Arceus to change how I think about Pokemon, but it did. It gives us that rare glimpse of what the franchise could be. Slower, weirder, more about the mystery of the world rather than the same formula of Pokemon that we've had since the 90s. And ZA looks like it has potential to take that even further. The setting alone is fascinating. We're heading to Lumio City, a familiar location from Pokemon X and Y, but it's not the same city we remember. This version is mid-redevelopment, full of scaffolding, and it's kind of just being reworked from the ground up. And that's definitely an interesting move that is certain to impact the gameplay in a lot of interesting ways. ZA also promises verticality and urban exploration in a way Pokemon hasn't really attempted before. I, along with many others, was concerned about the game only being confined to this one city. How am I going to be in one small area for the entirety of a new Pokemon game? But after seeing the different trailers and details around it, it looks much deeper and layered than I thought at first glance. The wilds are great, sure, but navigating rooftops, alleys, maybe even some subway tunnels, that could genuinely be pretty fun, especially if they lean into traversal mechanics like climbing or gliding. Arceus flirted with lore-heavy storytelling, and ZA could tie some of that together into some really interesting ways, especially if they give the character some better writing and more depth. More than anything, ZA feels like it's treating Pokemon as something new and interesting, and after decades of formulaic design, that's something I'm really looking forward to. There's a quiet confidence in the way this one's been revealed too, like they know they have something meaningful here. I'm really hoping that's true. Lost Soul Aside has always felt a bit like a dream someone had and then just made it real. It started as a solo dev project, a guy just trying to make something cool with Unreal Engine, and now it's blossomed into this full-scale action RPG that's finally nearing release. And yeah, it's flashy, but underneath all the spectacle, there's something kind of intimate about this one. At a glance, it draws easy comparisons. You've got the high-speed slashing and particle explosions of Devil May Cry, the shifting weapon forms and stylish dodges that reminded me of Final Fantasy XV, and a protagonist who looks like he walked right out of the PS3 era, but it's still the little design choices that made it stand out to me. Combat here isn't just fast, it's really fluid. You're not locked into one weapon type, you can switch mid-combo between swords, whips, scythes, and even ranged attacks, all without breaking momentum. It's the kind of free-flow combat system that looks more like it's going to require some skill to master. There's also this creature that follows you around and morphs into your weapons and even occasionally quips back at you. There's charm in the dynamic and I kind of like it. What's most exciting though is that for all the spectacle, Lost Soul Aside still feels like a passion project. Every time I see it, I get more and more excited. It's not trying to be everything all at once. It's not trying to be bigger than what it is. It just wants to deliver slick combat, a really striking world, and a personal story from what it seems. And sometimes that kind of focus is exactly what a game needs. If you miss action JRPGs that lean into style, this one's worth watching out for. It's been a long wait, but I think it's going to be worth it. This right here is one of those games that kind of sneaks up on you. Towa and the Guardians of the Sacred Tree doesn't have this famous legacy behind it. It kind of just appeared out of nowhere, but sometimes that's exactly where the most interesting JRPGs come from. And what we're seeing here, it feels like a quiet hit in the making. The premise is classic fantasy, but with a gentle twist. Towa is a forest-dwelling guardian who's been chosen to restore balance. It's a roguelite, which is interesting to me since I'm not a huge fan of these games. I did start getting into them more recently. I really enjoyed Hades among a couple others, and this one seems like the perfect fit for me. It's a bit slower in pacing, and some of the meditative world building and a story about nature, memory, and responsibility, yeah, that all sounds amazing. And visually, this painterly aesthetic, this art style, oh my god, it just stands out so well. I was blown away the first time I saw this. There's a calmness to it, but also this sense of awe. You want to get lost in this world and not rush through it. There's so many elements that I want to dive deeper into. Combat looks more action focused, and it seems like each of the different characters have vastly different playstyles. I love how the combat animations look as well, and some of the little peaks that we've gotten into the boss fights look incredible. What excites me the most, though, is the emotional tone. There's a real warmth here, a sincerity that reminds me of some of my favorite indie JRPGs. If the writing can live up to the atmosphere and the art style, if Towa's journey ends up being a memorable one, then this might be the kind of game people talk about at the end of the year as one that just snuck up on them. This is the one I think a lot of us have been quietly waiting for. Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles, is finally coming. After years of rumors, Square Enix is finally dusting off one of the most beloved tactical RPGs of all time and giving it a proper return. For longtime fans, this is monumental. Final Fantasy Tactics was always one of those games that you just didn't understand how good it was until you played it yourself. Everyone can tell you it's the most amazing thing ever, but it's hard to really get it until you experience it. The remaster or remake, depending on how much they're tweaking, brings modern clarity to this vision. Cleaner UI, reorchestrated music, redrawn character portraits, all the stuff that helps it feel fresh without reworking it from the ground up. Final Fantasy Tactics was one of the most interesting and challenging games I ever played growing up, and finishing this game was one of my proudest accomplishments when I was younger. That's actually something we rarely get anymore. This isn't just a nostalgia trip, it's a reminder of how mature, intricate, and emotionally raw a strategy RPG can be. I look forward to this one almost more than any other game this year, so definitely look out for it. There's a certain kind of quiet hype that builds around Digimon games. I'll admit, I'm not the hugest Digimon person. I've played a few of the games here and there, and recently I've become a little bit more interested in them. I've been told that these games are great for those that love systems, love tinkering, and are absolutely here for the more emotional storytelling. So hearing that definitely has my interest. Time Stranger looks like it's leaning into all of that, and that's why I'm excited. Right off the bat, the concept is ambitious. We're dealing with a fractured digital world splintered across timelines. You're navigating parallel moments to prevent reality from unraveling. It's classic Digimon weirdness, but with a narrative hook that feels more focused. The turn-based combat is sticking to the Cyber Sleuth foundation, it looks like, but what really elevates it is the timeline manipulation system. That alone is super interesting to me. On top of all that, there's a strong emotional undercurrent running through all of it. Time Stranger definitely looks like one of the more interesting Digimon games that I've seen in a while. I might have previously looked at Digimon as it trying to be Pokemon, but I've learned through playing a few of the games that this is just not the case at all. This isn't trying to be Pokemon, it's something completely different, and if you like Pokemon, you might like Digimon for completely different reasons. The Atelier series has always been a quiet hit for me. Where other games are about saving the world, Atelier games are kind of just about finding your place in it. The games are more about friendships that you make and the quiet satisfaction of making something beautiful from nothing. Resleriana feels like a return to that spirit that could bring a lot of the core fans back after Yumiya's changes to attempt to appeal to a much larger and more mainstream audience. No prior knowledge is required to play this one, as it is a standalone title in the series. It centers on two leads, the Red Alchemist, whose optimism borders on stubbornness, and the White Guardian, a woman with no memories and a sword she barely understands. The story looks super interesting, and on the surface, yes, it's still about gathering materials, crafting recipes, and watching numbers go up, because that's what makes Atelier great. That gameplay loop can be so addictive. But there seems to be more to this one than that, at least I hope so. Gameplay-wise, Resleriana brings back the timeline-based combat system, but now with party link attacks and a deeper layer of synergy between alchemists and guardians. It feels snappier, more responsive, and still rooted in strategy, and visually, it's stunning. The pastel palette, the watercolor lighting, it's like stepping into a storybook drawn with soft brushes, and it's just so beautiful. This is a comfort game. through and through, and it feels like a love letter to everything the series has done well up to this point. Next up, I have one that I've had my eye on for a long time. This is a turn-based pixel art JRPG that has had me super excited since I saw it at the Indie Quest showcase, and everything about it looks so good. That game is Quartet, and the title refers to a clever narrative hook. You start the game following 4 seemingly unrelated characters across 4 separate narratives, each with its own tone, setting, and pacing, and then, as you might expect, those stories begin to converge. I played the demo on Steam and was blown away by the art style, the storytelling, and the music. It's an incredible love letter to the classic JRPGs I grew up with. Mechanically, Quartet is perfect for fans of the SNES and PS1 era. Fast, clean, and deliberate turn-based combat with modern conveniences. There's solid pacing, smart writing, and a battle system that is easy to learn but has enough nuance to stay interesting across the entirety of the demo I played. It also helps that the sprite work is just beautiful. It's expressive, it's detailed, and without trying to be overly slick, it looks classic but modern. What really stuck with me though is the overall tone. There's a warmth to Quartet, a feeling that the devs love this genre as much as we do. It's not trying to modernize or deconstruct JRPGs, it's just trying to be a good one. And in a year filled with big budget games, that kind of sincerity really goes a long way in standing out. So that's it for me in this one. That's the lineup of 10 games that I'm super excited for in vastly different ways for each one even. Whether it's a remake that finally does justice to a classic, or a new title that feels like it's quietly carving out its own space, 2025's lineup is shaping up to be fascinating for this year. Maybe not the biggest, craziest year ever, but a super meaningful one, and one that I've already had a ton of fun with. Let me know in the comments below what games you're looking forward to most. Do any of these stand out to you? And are there any of them that you're really looking forward to trying? If you like this video, definitely hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for more JRPG content like this. It really helps out. And I look forward to reading all your comments. And until next time, I'm out.